Sup lame freaks. Sup certified freaks.
Every
day's a weeks. It's your boy DJ.
It's also your other boy. My name is Charlie.
And your other boy, my name is Sean.
Yo, special episode today.
We have more boys here.
Charles, will you stop?
Okay, sorry.
No. Tristan Stevens is here with us today.
What's up, guys?
Yo, it's been a long time.
It's been a while.
A lot has happened. When did 3 p.m. Tristan Stevens air? Like what episode numbers were we around?
Right before 100, right?
We were in double digits.
Yeah, it was like 90 something, I think.
Had we done Elon already?
Yeah, I think that's 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe like at least 1 or 2 Elon episodes.
Oh, welcome back.
Dude, we hadn't streamed yet.
True.
Yeah, we weren't.
Someone in chat just yelled Hmong. That's really rude. Don't just yell that at Tristan.
Yeah. No, I think last time I recorded, we were upstairs in the studio upstairs. Mm-hmm. Not even in this one.
Not even a studio. Yeah. It was my bedroom.
Yeah.
So lots has happened since you were here. So we're stoked to have you on, dude. If you haven't listened to that episode, highly suggest going back. It's one of our most listened to episodes, and I don't know, dare I say impactful?
I would say most powerful for sure. It's crazy.
Super powerful. Yeah. I mean, Tristan walked us through his family's escape.
Exodus. Survival story.
Exit from Laos.
Yeah. Yep.
From genocide. Wild.
Yeah, I was just talking to I'm a nurse at a hospital. I was talking to a patient about it, but it's still crazy to me to think like that's just my mom. Like that's not even that far away. I think, when you hear stories like that, you're like, oh, that's so far away, but that was just my mom who's still the first generation here. Mm-hmm. So it blows my mind away every time.
Yeah. It's an incredible story, and meeting them in person was incredible too. How nice, loving, and giving and sharing they were.
We were fortunate enough to get an invite from them to have dinner at their place, and they told us even more stories. Dude, it just felt good to be around them.
It's your episode is, I would say, Brittany's favorite episode. Oh, editor of the podcast.
Sweet.
She loves it. Almost monthly, she's like, you should convince Tristan to start his own podcast where he interviews people who've made it out of countries or something like. I think it could go, but we should do it. But anyway, we're excited to have you back, my dude. We know you've been slowly collecting stories. You recently had an aunt over who shared even more stories. And we hit Tristan up and we're like, when are you ready? And he said, I'll come anytime. We said, Thursday. He said, done. And he came through with 100 egg rolls, dude. Dropped it off to the boys.
Made from scratch. Supremely kind of you.
Made with love.
Made with love.
Yeah.
That's the secret sauce. Love.
Tristan, did you feel, after sharing your family story, did you notice any difference? Did any family members reach out to you? Because I know that story, a lot of the stories we share are not necessarily super important to anyone, but I know the ones that you shared were very important. And I dare say it might be the only place they're kind of recorded and documented. So did you have anyone reach out to you or anything like that? What was that like? Was your family proud of you?
Yeah.
Start there.
Definitely. I think, it's a really cool story to have, more people here. And I think every time I've told it to someone, they're like, you need to tell that story to more people, because I think people are really impacted by, just how powerful everything is. There's so many details that go into it, and thinking about just how they uprooted everything to get here. And again, it's people that are, you think about, kind of like I said, it's not that far away. So my mom's only 48, almost 50. So it's really not that far ago that she saw all this. It still blows my mind that when she got to America, the concept of electricity, running water, all this technology that we just take for granted was new to her. She didn't know what a light was when she got to the hotel. And
Man, that's gotta be have you seen the movie Just Visiting? Came out in like the late 90s, early 2000s. Anyway, no one's seen it, so it doesn't matter. But
sorry. I was like, continue.
The whole thing is these like from medieval times, this knight and like his servant like get transported into like 2000s Chicago.
Yeah.
And it was like them just like discovering it. It was just like, whoa, this is so crazy. Like, I don't know. I can't fathom that.
Yeah.
Bro, an even better reference is Knights in Templar Court, or what's that shit called, Sean? Where the guy goes back with rollerblades?
Oh, dude, that's a kid in King Arthur's court.
Kid in King Arthur's court, bro. That shit is lit. He gets transported back to King Arthur's time and he makes rollerblades.
And
Thought that was the coolest
sandwiches.
shit ever. Yeah.
They had no
Just
idea
kidding.
what a sandwich was.
This took a left turn. Did you
Sorry.
like after sharing your stories and like getting the feedback from all your family, was there anything that you wish you would have corrected or hit harder, or was there any like more context people shared with you after it?
Well, one thing my aunt did clarify after like talking to an even older aunt was, so I was saying like the group size that they were traveling with was like, 20 to 50. But my one aunt said at times it was up to 200 people
Wow.
Oh,
traveling around. So yeah, I don't know. Like they left their main village and would basically just like make camps a couple miles like in a radius around their village so they could return back for supplies.
Huh.
But it was like groups from anywhere of 20 people up to like 200 at a time. So I that was shocking because I just think trying to manage 200 people, like I think about my grandpa and probably the stress that he had knowing that decisions that he makes impacts 200 other people. Well, up to, you have your immediate family, but then tapering down and trying to keep them in mind as well. So that was something that kind of shocked me, trying to think about 200 people just trying to survive in the jungle and like what that all takes and the stress that it probably puts on you as the solo leader. So
crazy. Dude, trying to manage my life and make my decisions is got me at 99% right now. So I couldn't imagine a group of 200.
yeah.
Tristan, we're happy you're back. Kind of update. Last time when you found the podcast, you were delivery driving or you were just driving all day?
Yeah,
Are you still driving? What's going on?
Yeah.
For the state.
Yeah, I was driving for the state of Utah. I was working as like an intern for Utah Department of Transportation. So I was doing a lot of driving around the state and pulling a lot of just like travel time data. Fast forward to now, I've graduated from UVU in their nursing program. So
Congratulations.
Dude, I have a couple spots. I need you to check out after the pod.
all right. Happy to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now I just work as floor nurse. It's awesome. Get a lot of fun
Rad, dude.
interactions with patients, some cool coworkers. They got some pretty good stories I still need to get from them. So one of them worked as a nurse on a Indian reservation. And she has some wild stories. So need to talk to
Oh
her.
my gosh.
So,
So you're already setting up your next episode?
I don't know. I'm just happy to share the stories, So if I find them, happy to share.
Sweet.
But yeah, that's me, just enjoying life, working, hanging out with you guys, hanging out with chat when I'm not here. So yeah.
Sounds good. For tonight's stories, I don't know exactly what you have for us, whether it's more stories from your family being overseas or is it where are you taking us tonight?
So my aunt, who's from the Midwest, came into town and she just told me some really cool stories, I guess scary stories from her personal experiences, as well as one about my grandpa that's really cool. So I did some like research on these ghost demon things that they saw. So I'll share that. Kind of excited. It was kind of scary to me, but I'll get into that. Real quick, I did bring some like pictures / crafts just to show you guys. So my grandma's really, really artsy. I don't know.
Your grandma made the vest that you brought last time.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So she made this like, I don't know if we even have, did we record video when I brought the vest?
I think so.
Well,
maybe.
basically it's like this vest with lots of like tassels and
Yeah.
like jewelry hanging on it. So like when you walk around, it's really loud, but it has like lots of coins. It's like pink and green and white, which are really like interesting colors. Like the palette of colors I would not expect. But yeah, so she's super into just like crafts ever since I've remembered. She just sews and makes like anything. So these two things are like, I don't know, tapestries? I don't know, what would you call it?
Like mini tapestries.
So she made like this pattern, like quilt thing.
Yeah, they look quilted like a single.
And then this
Quilt
one's like,
Sorry, I just picked this one
yeah,
up.
no, you're good. I was gonna say. So the one Sean's holding is just like a pattern, and then this one's actually
That's sick, bro.
how they would make quilts or blankets, and that's like telling a story. So that's how they like passed on stories, other than
Damn.
like telling stories. So we like wrap these up in plastic to preserve them, just because you don't want to lose those and let them kind
For
of.
those just listening, can you guys describe what he's showing?
Honestly, this kind of reminds me of like Hawaiian quilting. Quilting's big in Hawaii. I don't know. This looks kind of like a floral pattern.
Yeah.
Nature. It's beautiful. We'll post pictures of it on the gram though.
Yeah, we'll post more pictures of it.
Yeah, I mean it's
Dope.
And you said your grandma made that while you were making spring rolls for us, like just an actual depiction of today.
yeah.
Like us having
This
dinner?
is the story of
That's so
making egg rolls
crazy, dude.
today. Like she worked that quick.
Damn. 200 egg rolls and a quilt at the same time. That's fire.
It's impressive.
She's a Renaissance woman. Many traits
Hmm.
she has.
Did she make this here?
I think those are actually made back in Laos, but I could be wrong. But that's the reason that they're like preserving them. So each family has like a couple that we've plastic wrapped so it doesn't like deteriorate.
Oxidize and yeah.
So she's got a couple of those, but I was lucky enough that she let me take that to my new home with my wife. So we have those two.
Oh, sick.
Wow.
so we
dude.
keep them in our like craft room.
This is
So,
like an actual treasure. And for
Yeah.
it to come from Laos,
yeah,
like this thing has been through more things than I ever will.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. It's really cool. I
Huh.
mean, the thing that's like mind-boggling about my grandma is like I don't think she was actually like trained. I don't know. I feel like we're lucky because we have so much like exposure to creativity content like these days where you can log on to social media, go on the internet, look up things to get ideas. But like everything she's made is just like from her mind or like cultural things and patterns. Like it's just passed on. But a lot of these designs are like original where she's just thought of those patterns and just like stitched it or sewed it together. So
She walked so we could run.
exactly.
That sounds like that's a joke, but like for real too, because it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
we're standing off of people who already like figured it out. Like,
Yeah.
luckily.
Yeah, no, it was cool. So I was like finalizing details for the stories today. I was rolling egg rolls and my grandma came downstairs and she like sat down and was trying to roll egg rolls and she's like, oh, I'm too old for this. Like, I'll just pull the rice paper apart for you. She like tried to roll like two and then she got like frustrated. So she's 95. So she's up there with age. So
But she's still kicking it
yeah, she's doing really good. I mean,
for 95.
for 95, yes. I mean,
Like she can still walk around.
yeah, she's still walking around. I mean, last summer she was walking outside and would get on the trampoline. I think I shared that with you guys last time. She gets on the trampoline and just like bounces.
Yeah.
Like doesn't jump. She sits down and like pushes with her arms and
She's not doing no backflips.
she's
or
not
anything?
doing like a triple gainer.
You could have told me that though, and I would have believed you.
Same.
But yeah, she came down and she was telling stories. The funny thing is my mom's like she's super detailed with her stories, which is funny because I don't understand her super well because I don't speak Hmong super well, but I can put like context clues together. But I'll like listen to my mom tell, so she'll go on and then my mom will tell like, oh, she said this and this and this. But my grandma will go for like 10 minutes and then my mom's like, oh, she just said that she went to the farm and saw this guy. I'm like, she was talking for 10 minutes. And she's like, that's because she was telling me on the way there, she remembers seeing 5 trees on the right and a bird like was squawking at its kids, and then a squirrel ran across. She's like, I didn't think you needed that detail. I was like, well, I don't, but that's impressive that she remembers like everything, because she'll go for a long time. Yeah. I ended up like on my phone, you know, you can do like voice recordings.
Mhm.
So I recorded her like telling some stories. I don't know if it'll come through good on the mic, but just if you wanted to hear what Hmong sounded like, I could play a snippet of it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Well,
As
because
well.
I just feel bad because I can't speak Hmong, but if I can play it so you can hear it, then you'd be like, oh, that's cool. Like, so
You know some though.
yeah, but
Teach us what you can.
I don't know it as good as like it's so tonal that I don't want to butcher the language.
Oh, okay.
So let me just pull it up real quick.
That's a good idea though. Like something like that. This is gonna sound hella Mormon of me to say, but you should put that on what is it, Ancestry or Family Tree?
Yeah.
Because every time I go home now, I record my grandma just telling me anything. I'll ask her questions about her childhood or whatever, and I'll upload it to like Family Tree, so like our family can go back and listen to it.
Huh.
That's dope, bro.
Yeah. Well, and the cool thing about her is she like when she tells stories, it's almost like some parts of the stories, it's like she's singing a song because she'll like really hold out words. Like I don't think we really do that in English, but she'll like hold it out for a while and then like go on to the next sentence. So it sounds like she's like singing, but
She's Hmong T-Pain, dude.
so I don't know. I'll just forward to like just a random part so you can hear it. Sorry if this like makes your ears bleed and it's too loud, but we'll give it a shot.
I go with you.
So this is my mom.
Yeah. And so then we went to pick up.
Sick, bro. Holy smokes, dude! I don't know. Maybe this is imposing, but I'd love to like be around your family again.
Yeah,
and, like trade stories and hear from them, and
definitely,
and give them some stories as well. But
yeah,
dude, would they? I was gonna ask earlier. Would they teach us maybe how to make egg roll?
Definitely. She was saying,
can we film it?
Yeah, she was saying next time. Well, we should wait till it warms up because they like doing like barbecues where we could do more than just egg rolls. Like egg rolls with sticky rice, with everything. But it would be cooler if you're all there because then when we make lots of egg rolls, everyone can just be rolling and we could be talking. So she's definitely down for that. And it's super easy because you make it in bulk. So we'll just have to set up something when it gets warmer.
Dude,
but yeah,
100%.
That's her. That's kind of how Hmong sounds. It's really tonal. So, and it's cool. I think it's like my dad learned Hmong because he served in LDS mission in Sacramento, but he doesn't like talk like my grandma where he'll like hold out notes unless he's like talking to her. Then he'll like almost like mirror her, which is really cool to see. But like my mom doesn't talk like that. My aunt doesn't really talk like that. So it must be like a more traditional from like Laos where you're
generational thing.
So, and she's like, I think she's the last of like any of her siblings or family members. So it's kind of like the hidden gem / preserving, like, or at least recording her speaking more so we can keep that.
With your dad being fluent, he's still fluent, I assume, because he has people to like use it with.
Yeah, well, he speaks better Hmong than my mom.
What?
How
so?
So he translates. So he translates for the church and does like LDS talks at General Conference, as well as like any of their stuff they publish. He translates everything, as well as he works for my uncle's translation company, and they do like Asian languages because my uncle speaks Thai. So he created a translation company, and so my dad will do like medical journals into Hmong. So he knows a ton. Like he's kept up on his language skills, and like he impresses all of my mom's family because he's just this bald white guy from Utah.
And they love it.
And they love it because he'll
eat it up.
Yeah, he'll show up to family functions and then they'll just be talking, and he just loves to like wait till they say something about him, and then he'll just jump right in and like perfect Hmong, and everyone's like, "Whoa, like you speak better than me." So it's really cool.
Do you know that? You know how Hmong tribes are colors?
Mm-hmm.
He's like the white Hmong, the white Hmong tribe.
Yeah,
Gave him his own tribe. Damn, that's crazy.
yeah.
I think we can relate a little bit with being in the Philippines.
Mhm.
Like Sean is fluent in Cebuano and Bisaya.
When we went and visited back in 2019, I like to just kind of listen to them talking and then jump in. Be like, oh yeah, I understand everything that you're saying. And they'd always be like, whoa.
Yeah, bamboozled. It's like, I'm playing your game, boy. This is my world. Dude, that's like
boy.
That's ultimate like colonizer move right there.
Yeah, we've educated ourselves.
Yeah.
Dude, you two, have you guys ever spoken in Cebuano on pod?
On pod? I don't think so.
You guys should, just to like prove it, because we've talked about it so many times, but it's like, it's one thing to hear it, but like, you guys should just have a quick convo.
How do you describe Cebuano?
I don't want to describe it because I might end up, the only words I know are the really bad words. So when I fake Cebuano, I say the really bad ones.
No, but you
know what I mean?
You'll say, I can't remember what you say, but you're like, every time I hear Cebuano, it sounds like, I don't know, made up or something. I don't know. It doesn't sound like anything.
I don't know.
Bro, okay.
No, I never disrespected Filipinos like that. I said it sounds poetic, you know? It sounds beautiful.
Okay. Did you know that in Star Wars, you know the Ewoks?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know the Ewoks? Ewoks are
Bajau or what?
Ewoks are basically Ewoks are the little bear.
Yeah, teddy bears.
Berenstain Bears, dude, in the original trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
And they live in the trees and they live in the forest. And the more I talk about this, the more I feel like, wow, like they really like went through with like what I'm trying to say is they speak Tagalog, which is like the main Filipino dialect. What me and Sean speak is like a secondary dialect in the Philippines. But they straight up speak Tagalog. And when we went to the Philippines, all the other missionaries would tell us that, and we're like, that sounds not real. You know, that's not true. And then it is. Like I went home, watched it,
You're like,
and I was like, man, they're like worshiping C-3PO because he's gold, remember? And they're saying like Hari means king.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's so wild. And then now I'm talking about it, it's like, man, they live in the forest. They're short. There's so many of them.
And shit.
Yeah, they're so happy.
Yeah.
It's like, damn. Star Wars
They're really troublesome with sticks and rocks and stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
dude. They really nailed it. Even Mace Windu, dude. Mace Windu. What color is his lightsaber?
Mace Windu.
It's
Mace
purple.
to the window.
He got that purple lightsaber, dude.
Yeah. Luke to the wall, dude. No, but say something in Cebuano.
I don't know, man.
Just like, kumusta ka?
Kamusta ang imong adlaw?
Okay ra. Dugay ng trabaho nako. Grabe kaayo ang mga kuan na akong gibuhat.
I work and I grab coffee.
Pohon,
I'm translating.
Magato ka para sa imong trabaho.
The beautiful men
sa
live
New York.
across the valley in New York. What were you guys saying?
I was just like, how was your day? He was like, just worked. It's kind of crazy. You heard, if you know Spanish, you'll hear trabajo. Just because the Spaniards like conquered the Philippines for like 500 years. So, but yeah.
Yeah, we just talked about work, and that was about it, dude.
Cool.
Boring.
Sorry for putting you on the spot, but I think it's cool. No, it's like to see, kind of to Tristan's point, like to see a white like speak an Asian language is always insanely impressive. So, yeah.
Thank you, Elder.
But let's get back to Tristan.
Salamat, Elder.
Oh yeah, wala isa pa yun.
That's so crazy. Is there any type of politicking in Hmong culture? Just like for me, I cannot speak Tongan.
Mm-hmm.
My dad, fluent in Tongan, born and raised in Tongan until he moved away when he was 21, and didn't want to teach us Tongan. And now it's like I go to like my family reunions. I see my hot cousins, and and they I don't know, like
you can't hit on them in Tongan.
Yeah, I can't hit on them in Tongan. I can't be, yo, what's up, girl? They're like,
What's up, girl?
What is that in English?
Fefe? Shaipe? Shaipe no malo, dude.
You're dumb, dude. But I don't know. I can't really truly integrate sometimes just because I'm not fully Tongan.
Real.
Is that a thing with Hmong?
I mean, like yes and no. I know when I was younger, because I talked about it last time, went to Hmong New Year in Sacramento. My oldest,
where you pass the ball.
Yeah, where you toss the tennis ball, That's how you show them you like them.
That's what you were missing, DJ.
Take a tennis ball to your family reunion.
Dennis bowl.
Toss it to them.
Baz the Dennis.
Baz the coconut.
But yeah, I remember like walking around and there's like some like local Hmong people in Sacramento that were like talking trash because I'm only half, and I was just like, oh, this is really cool, walking around bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, like this is so cool. And then they were talking in like a circle as we were walking by, and then my one cousin that actually speaks Hmong really well like stood up for us, was like, hey, like back off, like relax, they're just like they're half, but they're still like part of you, so no need to like hate.
Is there a word for it?
I don't remember.
Like Hawaiians, like haole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or afakasi or hapahaole, like half white, mixed white, mixed foreigner.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a word. There probably is. I just don't know it. But yeah, I remember like, and I talked about this last time too, but like in Utah, I was the exotic one. And then in Sacramento, I'm the white one. So just never good enough, That's
I feel you there,
the
brother.
Trauma
I feel you there.
Yes.
No, that's why I think I identify now as like fake Hawaiian or Mexican, bro. I pretend to be Hawaiian when I'm in Hawaii just because I want to fit in and belong.
Yeah. No, that's
Charles's dream.
Call me Sole.
Yeah, Charles's dream is to be called Sole or Toko from a poly.
If someone says that or mistakes me, I look back at DJ. I'm like,
yeah, that's me. Meanwhile, Charles will come over and I'm like watching anime, so it's like we're both trying to be each other's culture.
I'm like, you weeb, yeah, you weeb.
Ohio,
aloha, show you. Anyway, that's dope, guys. We should get into stories.
Yeah, take us away, my guy. So your aunt,
yes,
from Michigan.
From like Wisconsin,
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she was in town.
And give as much context and background as you want. Like, don't worry about time because it's important people kind of know to know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yes. So, so like a lot of Hmong people came to America. The major like states that I know that there's a concentration of like Hmong people is like obviously Sacramento, Fresno. In the Midwest, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Virginia, like North Carolina, maybe a little bit down in Texas, but those are the ones that I'm most familiar with, mainly because I have like family or relatives there that are like in Hmong communities where they like know about other families or at least are in a circle enough to talk about like still having some Hmong culture around them. So yeah, those are like the main states that I'm aware of where there's Hmong people. So she was actually in town because my grandma, she was actually in the ICU for a second because she had some medical decline. So she came over and was like hanging out, helping just be in the hospital. But grandma's doing great. Happy to report she's much better, which is awesome. So she had a couple stories to tell, and I was just so stoked because I love when I get to hear, I mean, either coming to America or anything from back in Laos. And she is like in her 60s. So my aunt is, so she's like, at least double digits, closer to 20 years older than my mom. And that's her older sister. So she remembers more back in Laos, which is why she had some good stories. Because my mom, she remembers stuff, but you got to remember, like, how much do you remember when you were little? Obviously.
Because how old was your mom?
My mom, when they came here, she was only like 4 or 5. So, so she like obviously remembers stuff because it was traumatic and like a big event. And like you can probably remember 1 or 2 big things maybe when you were 4 or 5, but like every day was a big day for her. So really the traumatic things she remembers, but not like day-to-day stuff, which is really cool to have, uncles and aunts that were older at the time so they can fill in the holes. So she shared a couple. Sorry, I'm just looking at my notes real quick. We'll start with her story, her 2 stories, and then I'll tell one about my grandpa. So with her, she had a story about my great-grandma that I never met. Basically in Hmong culture, when you, like, your parents as they age, they're supposed to like live with the youngest son as they like pass on, right? So if we were like traditional Hmong family, I'm the youngest son in the family. So it would be my role to take on my parents as they get older, bring them into my house, care for them as they age, and eventually pass on. So my great grandma, she was, again, like probably pretty old in late 80s, early 90s, but she was very fit and very healthy. She was still working at the time, and her job was basically to put fruits and veggies in a giant bag on her back, and she would walk a couple miles into the bigger village, and she would sell veggies and fruits every day and then walk back. So
that checks out. Because I remember when I was in the Philippines, we went on like a hike one day because we got tired of preaching the gospel. Yeah. We went on a hike one day, and this old lady in the middle of the mountains, no shoes, bare feet, running across rocks with a basket full of fruit. Yeah. It's like sprinting past us.
Yeah.
I'm like huffing and puffing.
Well, and the
teacher's like,
albuterol. Give me the albuterol. But my mom was saying like the pace that like Hmong people walk at, like when they're like, because this is their whole life, just workers, their pace is like quick. She's like, their walk is like what we would do for like jogging. And it's just like this 90-year-old lady with fruit on her back, like skinny, fit, but like, frailer looking, but strong, like strong as an ox. So she's very, very healthy. She was still the provider for her family. Like her husband had passed away, and she was living with her youngest son, who was more or less kind of like a bum. He didn't really provide or step up like he was supposed to. And him and his wife were actually like addicted to opium plants. So they would just smoke opium plants all day in the home while she was basically providing. And it's just, I was like blown away. So she's telling me the story. So I just wanted to give that preface about like her lifestyle, just very, very fit. So the big thing was she understood that like without her working, they would have nothing. They wouldn't be able to pay for anything. They couldn't buy supplies, couldn't go buy rice, couldn't buy anything. And one day her son, the opium bum, I don't know, he asked her for money, and she was like, she's smart. She's like, no, I don't think that's a good idea. Like, I don't think you need money at this time. And basically in like a fit of anger, he like grabbed a machete from the table and like swiped at her. Luckily she was wearing like more traditional like Hmong clothing. So she had like a couple different sashes on her, but he cut through all the sashes and like got surface level on her. But had she not been wearing it, probably would have killed her. So she got really scared, and she like packed up a bag and like ran to my aunt. So she's really close with my aunt. So her grandma, my aunt's grandma, my great grandma, just clarifying lineage there. So she like was really close, was like, hey, I don't feel safe where I'm at. Can I live with you and your husband and your kids? And she's like, absolutely, like, come stay with us. And my uncle was like, no, like, this is not okay. He can't just get away with this. Like, we need to talk to him, and he needs to be punished for something like this. So
attempted murder.
Yeah. Well, and then that's like there's no real law out there, It's like they don't have police that are going to come and take him away. So it's like you got to work out this stuff. So he's like, we can't just run away and let this go. Like this
work out as in like a in a just counsel kind of way, or like mob justice type of way?
Like there's no one that's working as like a cop where you just call them up and like, hey, this person did this, like take them away. It's like really like leadership would have to. So like that was like what my grandpa would do. He was like the moderator. If things happened, they like went to him. How do we want to deal with this? And it's like, well, let's think about it. But in this situation, this was like before he was super up there, I think. So he wasn't like running like their village or anything yet.
He wasn't the goat yet.
Yeah, he was not the goat yet. Pre-goat. So my uncle was like, okay, so this is how it's going to work. If grandma's going to live with us, then you're going to pay us a huge amount of money, basically, to like show as punishment. And money was really cherished to him because of his addiction, right? So it's like, give us everything that you have, basically to like ruin his life if they're going to take on grandma. Not that grandma's a burden, but like, hey, if we take her away, then you lose everything. And that it was basically trying to balance the scale of like, you're losing this woman that's taking care of you, so we're going to make it a big loss in your life. He said, or you can carry her on your back to your home, like several miles away, as like a punishment to show that like you care about your mom. And so I think he was like, well, whatever, I'll just take her with me. I need her income to support me. So he carried her piggyback style like miles back to his house, and they walked next to him and made sure that he carried her the whole way.
Damn, that's crazy. Yeah. That's straight up be a man.
Swift as a coursing river.
Honestly, though.
So, anyways, she like things were kind of resolved, I guess you could say, for like a couple days. Then suddenly, my great grandma passes away, which is where my aunt is like, it's just weird because I remember seeing her totally normal, totally healthy, and like that just doesn't happen overnight. But before that happened, she gave these pots to my aunt and was like, hey, I know you're going to be going to the US soon. There's some relatives there. I want you to take these pots to them as a gift from like grandma. And so my aunt's like, okay, I can do that. My great grandma passes away.
She was healthy and then passed away.
Yep, passes away.
Are we suspecting anything?
So my aunt was this is the aunt from Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. She's like, there's no way grandma just declines like that. Like it just doesn't happen. So anyways,
it's a game of Clue, dude.
Yeah, I know. Well, so then the son and the daughter-in-law like come over to my aunt's house and they're like, hey, we want to borrow that pot that grandma left for you. We don't have any cookware. She says it's totally fine. Like, let us borrow it or have it, not even borrow it. Just like, we don't have anything. So can we take it? My aunt's like, she told me to take it with me when I go to the US to give it to other family.
Uncle's asking for it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry.
And so
is this opium bum uncle?
Yep.
Is this pothead uncle now?
Yes. All of the above. So she's like, okay, didn't really think much of it. Was like, okay, I guess like you can take the pot. She gives it to them, and then word gets around that grandma passed away. And so she's like, this is so weird that grandma's just gone. So she goes and they're having the funeral, and she's like talking to, the people around, like, it's really sad that she's gone. She was a really good lady. I miss buying vegetables from her. I saw her every day in the village. Just crazy that she's gone like this. They set her up for like the viewing, and my aunt says she remembers seeing grandma like looking very peaceful when she left. Like, so basically up the hill was like where they had the ceremony, and then down the hill was like where their house was and where they hung out. Mm-hmm. So she remembers going up, seeing grandma peaceful, came home, let all the other family members go see grandma. Then she went up like 2 hours later, and she remembers seeing grandma with blood coming down her eyes and a bruised like face. Very like traumatic looking after she had left and like all the family and close friends like visited. So she talks to like my grandpa, the goat grandpa, and she's like, why does grandma look like that? And he goes, I think it's her presenting the true way she passed away.
Oh.
And so my aunt says she cannot forget that image.
Chills, bro.
She cannot forget that image in her eyes. She remembers seeing a very peaceful grandma And then 2 hours later, just blood coming from her eyes and a bruised face.
Whoa.
So, other reports from like neighbors said they heard her like in the bedroom, like asking for like hot water. So like Hmong people don't usually drink cold water. So she was like weekly asking, because like they're not in homes, they're like in like huts, right? Like bamboo huts. So it's not like you couldn't hear a conversation. It'd be like listening to the next room. And people remembered like hearing her say like, "Can somebody bring me water?" over and over and over again. But no one helped her out. So, I mean, again, allegedly, right? There's no proof, but she remembers seeing that and being very like, ugh. So they bury her and they're done with like that. They're done with the funeral and everything. And my aunt's trying to move on. Later that night, she is in the kitchen, like cleaning up, and my aunt's son, he's like, "How come?" Or like he starts waving, and she's like, what's going on? She's like, "Well, my uncle, her son, was like, I see grandma and she's waving at me." And she like didn't think much of it. She's like, "Okay." And the one thing my great grandma did was she always brought candy to her like grandkids. And so my uncle's like, "I see grandma, she's waving at me, but she doesn't have any candy for me." And he's like, or my aunt's like, "Okay, maybe it's just like because everything's going down right now. He's seeing things." So she doesn't think much of it, just kind of dismisses it. Later that night, she hears a bunch of like rustling outside and goes out, and she keeps all her chickens in like a coop, and all the chickens are like scattered. And she's like, "Whoa, that's kind of freaky." So she gathers up all the chickens, and like the neighbor helps gather up all these chickens, and they put them back in the coop, put the lid on top, and like lock it. So she goes back, gets into her room, and she's about to fall asleep, and then hears like a loud bang, and then goes back out, and all the chickens are spread again. She's like, "Oh gosh, I think I know what's happening." So she goes out, she gathers up the chickens, and she goes, "Hey grandma, I know it's you. You're kind of scaring me right now. I think that you should stop and leave me alone. And I think it's because I gave the pot to your son and daughter-in-law. I promise if you leave me alone and let me sleep tonight, I'll take that pot back from them." And then she goes back in bed and she's like, "Please don't let the chickens out again." So,
and probably salty because she ain't got no candy either.
Yeah, no candy. Chickens are out. Next morning, goes over to the house, knocks on the door, gets the pot. Like, she's like, "I need to take this pot. Grandma came and visited me last night. Like, you guys can't have this. I have something to do with this pot." She took it back and ended up bringing it to the US. She still has the pot today. But yeah, that was her experience seeing grandma like the day after, or great grandma after her funeral. But the two things, I mean, just seeing like a different person, bruised face, bloody eyes, and then just like my uncle, her kids seeing great grandma waving.
Then the chickens.
She's like, I know you think I'm crazy saying these stories, but like these are things I saw with my eyes. And I'm like, "No, I believe you." Like when you're when you're in like a culture like that, like when you believe things so strongly, it almost like we've been talking manifesting, right?
Yeah.
But like when that's your culture, those things like really do happen because I think there's so much belief, and belief equals like power, right? So anyways, that was
when she took the pot back, it didn't happen again?
Nope.
No
After
chickens?
that, no chickens, nothing. So she was like, that was definitely grandma like showing that she was upset that I didn't listen to her about taking the pot with me and giving it to someone that probably did something bad.
And then she opened the pot, and you know what was inside?
Candy.
Hai Chu.
Oh, Hai Chu. Yeah, there you go.
Dude.
There you go.
Damn.
So
Opium. Oh.
So yeah, that was one that I was like, oh, the scary thing is just seeing a different body. I can't even imagine you left a body looking peaceful, and then you come back after, families come and said their goodbyes, and especially the potential murderer says goodbye and is putting on a show. And then my grandpa thinks that she was like showing her true self through her body, like what happened, because my aunt's like, she was very healthy, no signs of deterioration. And I mean, I get it, like people can die suddenly, but that was just one that was unusual circumstances where you're kind of left with like an eerie feeling. So
damn, I swear, like half the horror movies stole that plot. You know, like the haunted girl, but at the end, you like just find out she's just trying to tell you how she died.
Yeah.
To, like, get justice.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is like, I don't know how my grandpa, like he's just so smart. I don't know. He's sensitive to like things like that and just is very
He's
like
in tune, man.
in tune and quick.
Fire. Did he
Gift
have a
of
title?
discernment.
Did he have a title?
Yeah. What'd they call him?
Didn't he have red hair?
Yeah, he had red hair.
Yeah.
He had like, well, it's like,
And that's not common.
no, not common at all. Every
What are you talking, DJ? What are you talking about?
wait, what? This is news to me.
I don't know. I couldn't remember. Maybe like Hmong people have like uncharacteristically red
Asians
hair.
love ginger, dude. There's a joke there somewhere.
Somewhere, grab onto it and hold on tight.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had like brownish red hair. So
He didn't have a title though. Did they call him like governor, emperor?
I
or
mean,
something?
he was.
Gov.
I don't know the exact title that they called him, but yes, essentially he was like the top chieftain, mayor, leader,
Top Gun,
the top gun.
Maverick.
Yeah, they called him Maverick.
Just Tom Cruise. Did Uncle come to America?
Yeah, he came to America.
Opium uncle?
Yeah, eventually got here. I've
We
never
should
met him.
whoop his ass, bro.
Damn, dude.
So
He smuggled himself in.
yeah, probably somehow use some opium to get over here.
Oh gosh. All jokes aside, that's a super sad story. Like to lose
Yeah.
great grandma like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
do you know if like justice was either served or was it just like they moved on?
I think, I mean, a lot of what I've gathered is like death is a very, very, very sad thing in like Hmong culture. So like my mom said her first funeral in America, especially like being in like the church, she went to one. She wasn't even a member, but she went to a funeral of a member. She's like, why is everyone so happy about death? Because I think like the positive message that we like
we'll see him again.
celebration of life.
Yeah.
You'll see him again. They're in heaven. But where like in the Hmong culture, it's like you got to do the right things to guide their spirit to the right place, and then hope that they lived a good enough life to come back with a good life.
Is there a traditional mourning process?
Yeah, so
What does it look like?
so their funerals can be like several days long, which is actually kind of crazy because they keep the body like basically in the center, and it's just like a celebration, lots of food, lots of mourning. Shamans will come play drums. They'll play like a bamboo flute. Just different things that they do can help. They believe that like with the right burial, you're helping guide that spirit to where it needs to be, and you're preventing. By playing like the right songs, you're preventing like evil spirits from like entering. So it's like two parts to it. So you're helping guide and protect.
Was that influenced by any like religion? Like, is there a main religion? Any deities?
I don't think. I think last time we kind of touched on it. It's like a little bit of like Buddhism influence, whereas like there's like life in all things and reincarnation, but there's also like a lot of belief in like ancestors, their spirits, and like just familial ties. So it's like a little bit of both. I don't know if they have like an official religion, that like the Hmong religion. It's like they've just adopted, I feel like, a lot of different cultures because they have like shamanism and like medicinal things, but they also have, I know my mom was saying like one of the folklore or myth things is like if you wear or take another person's shoes in the next life, you'll be their horse. So she was always like sketched out about buying shoes from like the DI, because if you take someone else's shoes in the next life, you're either going to be their horse. So it's like little things like that where I don't think they have like an official religion. But
that
different
kind of makes
beliefs.
sense too, because like there was no Hmong
Mhm.
country, and you guys
Yeah.
were a nomadic
Mhm.
people.
Yeah, and they didn't get their language till like French Catholic missionaries were somehow down in Southeast Asia, kind of actually wrote down their language for them, but it doesn't even make sense.
So like before that, it was just
it's just
oral.
all oral, telling
Mhm.
stories.
Yeah.
That's how the language was passed on. They didn't have anything written down until I want to say 18 or 1700s. I might be off on those, but I think one of my uncles is a pretty good historian and knows like all the history of how the language was created and came together. But like writing it out, it doesn't phonetically make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I said last time, like my middle name is Shong. Shong is how you'd spell it, like for us to sound it out. But in Hmong, it's spelled Soob. And B is the tonal marker. So yeah.
Wild.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know how or why they thought of that as like, this is how we're going to make your language. But they did. And so my brother's middle name is Lee, but in Hmong, you'd spell it Lis. And for us, we'd do Lee. So yeah, it doesn't make sense when you look at the letters. So if you try and read a Hmong text, you'll just look like a
Butcher
fool.
it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was story one about great grandma.
Wow, bro. Rest in peace, grandma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully she found some peace. I think
Sounds like she did. She left the chickens alone
Yeah. She's probably
and got the pot, baby.
Yeah. Probably peacefully in some cornfield in Laos, enjoying her
Damn, I love
enjoying
that.
her days of not having to care for a family. Probably miss his family, but I don't know. You know, I just
haunting that uncle, dude.
yeah. I just hope she's peaceful. I'm sure justice will happen.
Hell yeah.
Tristan, I'm hyped you're here.
I'm hyped to
Yeah,
be
it's
here.
awesome.
I don't know if like I don't know how well like energy translates to the camera and over the mic, but like, dude, it feels good to have you here.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Very blessed to have you.
Ferroto.
So this is another one from my aunt. I don't know. She's probably 12 or 13 at the time. So she was working on the farm all day, like just weeding, basically taking out weeds, dumping them, making sure that all the things that were supposed to grow are growing and all the things that aren't supposed to grow leave so the good things can grow.
This is back in Laos.
Back in Laos. So basically from sunrise to almost sunset, she's a 12-year-old just weeding out in the field. Her dad tells her, hey, will you go and harvest some corn from our other field and bring it home so we can roast it for dinner? So she grabs her friend and she's like, you want to go grab some corn with me? We're going to have like a bigger dinner. Well, help me carry some back and you're welcome to stay for dinner with our family. And so she's like, sure, sounds good to me. Like, I'm down. So they walk and my mom said it's probably like a good 2 to 3 mile walk from like farm to farm. So they get to the corn farm. I don't know if that's the right term. They get there and the family's like probably a half mile away at like a cliff overhang. They're starting a fire, getting ready to have like a nice barbecue with a nice like lookout over like the valley. So they pick like 15 ears of corn each and they put them in their backpacks. My aunt hears a voice that's like, hi there, young lady. And she's like, that doesn't sound like my friend. So she turns around and sees like an old lady, old hag looking lady.
Damn, out the gate.
Yeah, like
this ugly ass.
just super scared. Just her looks alone were scary. She was so, yeah. So she sees this lady and she goes, are you here alone? And
Definitely not.
My aunt says, in the Hmong culture, they're taught you never admit to an adult that you're alone. You tell them, oh, I have, another adult here. Or like, my parents are actually at the fire just up there. You can see the smoke.
Smart.
I'm just going to like be with them. So in the Hmong culture, that's like pretty normal. If you approach a solo child, the solo child should tell you, hey, I actually have an adult like back here. It's like, stranger danger for us when you're taught
Right.
like, don't recognize them, stay back, you're not my dad, stuff like that. She lies and says like, oh no, my family's just like right over here. They're really close. I'm just getting some corn for them. And then she says she remembers the old lady like looking down, like looking up at her, but she kept like moving her hair out of her face because she like couldn't see, like just kept wiping the hair. And then she finally like parts the hair and looks up and her eyes were like out of the sockets, like hanging down. And she was like shocked, like, whoa. And so she's like, she was just frozen. And so she like starts calling for her friend. Hey, where are you at? Like trying to like not look too scared because again, Hmong culture, they believe that like, you know, if you like show scared emotions, you're just empowering whatever it is that you're with. So she's like trying to get the attention of her friend really quick. Like, are you seeing what I'm seeing? Like, is this real?
But she's not supposed to be acting that way.
Yeah. So she's like moving her hands, like flapping around, trying to like get her friend to like look over. And finally her friend like comes over and the old lady like turns her face away. And she's like, I just looked at her. Her clothes are all raggedy. Her hair looks really like weird and like greasy. But when she moved it, her eyes were like out of socket. And the friend is like the classic friend in like a horror story that's like, no, that's not real, man. Like, no way. And she's like, we should call her over and be like, show us that your eyes are out. And she's like, no, just let her walk away. And so she like turned around and started walking down the trail. And the friend's like, hey lady, turn around so we can see your face. And the old lady turns around and it's like a beautiful woman.
Oh,
and she's like, she just looks at them and then she said, literally just like wisped away. And so my aunt was like, I'm pretty sure that was an encounter with like a witch. My aunt has seen a lot of things.
This is only story 2.
But these are the things that like she says that keeps her up at night because she can't forget the things that she's seen. And so like when she tells these stories with like conviction, you're like, I believe you. You don't have to convince me. Like I believe that you've seen things that trouble you and keep you up. So I just again can like picture just some like old lady like parting hair over and over and just to like reveal like no eyes that are like sunken out.
How's she supposed to react if not scared?
Yeah, I was like,
ma'am, can you please put your eyes back into the holes?
Please put the eyes back. I'll get to a good story about my grandpa about quick-wittedness. So, but yeah, that was her story with like a witch, that's
terrifying.
The scariest thing about that to me is think about being somewhere just like so like barren where you're just like surrounded by plants and then you're one-on-one with something or someone that you have no idea who they are and then they have that creepy appearance. Like no one's there to like save you. If they took you or killed you, like that would be it. Like that's it. No one else is around. Like there's no cell phones, there's no nothing. Like it's just you and them. Like and that's the part that freaks me out the most is because like that movie Lovely Bones.
Oh yeah.
Like when she goes down to like the little spoiler alert, when she goes down to the little play area, you know, when she gets hit with that realization, like no one knows where I am and I'm in the middle of nowhere with this stranger. Like that's what I thought about my aunt. Like she's with a friend that's her age, like a kid, and they're seeing this witch lady and it's like no one else is around. The closest family's like a half mile away. Like they're not going to hear if you scream. I mean, they might, but you're just surrounded by corn. So
I'm sorry that's terrifying, but I can't help but think that what a fun life it would be if you're the witch.
Yeah.
Just go around trolling people, dude.
Yeah, dude.
But
what's it going to be today?
Yeah. Which
the eyes.
I forgot. The other creepy thing, why she couldn't get her hair out of her face. I butchered this. She only had 3 fingers on each hand and it looked like chicken feet. I forgot to mention that.
Talons?
Yeah. And that's why she like couldn't get the hair out of her eyes. Because she would like reach and try to part it and it would just like fall right back. Because she couldn't like
Oh
that's
my
so
gosh.
crazy. moving the hair.
Yeah.
Like that, dude.
Yeah. So I was like, there's something else. What am I missing? Sorry, I just didn't want to be like looking at my phone, but what can you do? Now you know. 3-finger, no eye witch lady.
And then she turns around and she's gorgeous.
Yeah, turns around, beautiful lady, and then like wisps away. And her friend's like, you're such a liar. And I'm like, that would happen to the friend that doesn't believe. Like, of course.
See that this has been happening to me the whole time.
Yeah, but then he saw her.
Yeah, it's
wisp
true.
away,
She did see the wisping away, but she didn't see the scary, the scary face 3-finger thing. So,
They just wisped away and they're like, no, there's no way their eyes were hanging out.
Yeah, no way. Too beautiful. So that was her encounter with a witch.
Damn,
That's terrifying.
Keep feeding us, man. I love this.
Yeah, I love it too. It's so nice to just sit and listen, man.
Well, feel free to interject or if you have thoughts or stories
No,
or
you're
anything
good.
pops up, you throw it out there. Okay, so for story 3, I got a little bit of folklore background for you.
Gang.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is a pretty well-known, I don't want to sound like Pokemon, but this is a well-known ghost type or paranormal being in the Hmong culture. I'm going to butcher the name. I had my mom say it, so I'll say it and then I'll play the recording of her saying it. It's only 2 words, but the tones, they always stress me out. So the way it's spelled, this is why I say that Hmong doesn't make sense. It's spelled Poj space
Pog.
Ntxoog.
What in the
Poj
world?
Ntxoob.
Yeah.
That's the name of the creature?
This is the name of the creature.
I choose you.
I choose you, Poj Ntxoob. No, it's ba, you're like a sheep, ba, and then it's nzo, ba nzo. So
Bonzo.
and the second part, my mom was saying, the tone is you're getting punched in the gut. So
Buns up.
yeah, 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 exactly.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. So, this is some background on what it is. I got 2 things about it.
Give me the stats.
This is what remains of a victim's soul who has been dragged to the spirit realm. It's typically seen or recognized as a lanky figure covering with hair and backwards feet with sunken eyes. They are obsessed with human fashion as they remember.
Bro, is this me? Backwards feet, obsessed with fashion?
Sunken eyes.
Damn.
This is
so wild. Keep going.
DJ post ankle roll, backwards feet. So they're obsessed with human fashion as they remember that they were human, but they don't remember what it was like. And then I found this someone wrote a 12-page research paper on this. So it says it is literally translated to female ghost or lady ghost. It is a female ghost that can take on many forms. It said that she can be seen alone or walking with a tiger, and indeed she can even transform into a tiger. Those who have encountered her commonly describe her as a young girl with excessive and untidy hair hanging down past her waist. She is said to have feet that are pointed backwards and rotated eyes with eyelids that close from the side.
What?
Yet others have said she can take on the form of a beautiful woman and seduce, even kill men, taking them away from their wives and families. She is a clever trickster who can appear and disappear in the blink of an eye. Her attire is usually ragged pieces of distinctive Hmong costume, either a pleated skirt or a wide black pants with a black jacket. She is believed to reside in caves or under large boulders, but her encounters with humans are usually in the jungles or on farms.
What in the world? This monster is like the Megazord of monsters. Took characteristics from literally everything. Is into fashion, has long unkept hair, finds people in forces but lives under a rock. Is this Patrick
And
Star?
caves,
Yeah. Has reptile eyes but can turn into a tiger.
Yeah.
Dude, this is so crazy.
Later on, it says, the Bonzo is a ghost that exists within Hmong cosmology and therefore is not a myth or legend, but a living soul. She exists in and inhabits both the earthly and spiritual realms, but unlike humans, she can decide when she wants to be seen or hidden. She does not discriminate which gender she appears for and for whom she wants to hurt.
A progressive ghost.
That's what we needed in 2022. She does. Men often recount seeing or meeting her in the jungle at night. Since men often travel alone, they are susceptible to the girl's seducery. She is described as having the presence of a young girl in the presence of men and can transform into a beautiful woman. And then this is a little story that they told about this ghost, and then I'll tell my aunt's story about meeting one of these. Actually, she met, and I don't know, I'm still unclear on if it's a person, like this is the one and only, or I think it's more of like there's multiple of these that exist, you know?
Okay.
Like it's like, I don't know. There's not just one zebra, there's a species of zebra. So like I think there's a species of backward foot, long hair,
bonzo, and she just ran into it.
Yeah. So
a wild bonzo appeared.
Yeah. As she was walking through the bushes, it appeared. So this is still a different story. So in a small mountain village in between what is known today as Laos and Vietnam, there was a family whose daughter became extremely ill. Seeing that she needed a remedy, the father notified the village chief to call upon a shaman from the surrounding village. The following day, the shaman came to the village and performed a ceremony to call back her wandering soul, which he, after consulting with the ancestors in the spirit world, diagnosed the cause of her sickness. So a lot of Hmong people believe like if you're sick, it's because your spirit has been, lured away by evil spirits. And so typically the ceremonies involve calling back the spirit, bringing it back to its rightful owner, and making sure no bad spirits enter in.
Is it like prayers?
Mm-hmm. Prayers, songs.
Any like substances like crystals or like Palo Santo type of thing?
I mean, they do burn some incense, and then typically like a sacrifice too.
Animal
sacrifice. Usually the bigger the animal, the more powerful of a ceremony they're calling upon. So like if it's a cow you're sacrificing, then that's like the big guns,
Yeah. Or a bonzo.
Yeah. So yeah. Goes on saying the spiritual performance lasted all day and closed with a sacrifice of a pig, which the village feasted on. By the time the shaman decided to return home, the sun had already set. The father and daughter insisted that he stay the night because he was from the neighboring village. So they're like, no need to go back in the dark, stay with us. Because it's at least a half day's walk to his village. The daughter said, Shaman, I insist that you stay the night. Tomorrow, when the first rooster crows, you can head out. The shaman replied, no, I should be heading back. Don't worry, I'm a shaman. Nothing can scare me. The father then asked, but what about a bonzo? The shaman laughed, my brother, if I see her, I will kick her and she will go flying.
Hitmonlee on her ass.
The father agreed and the shaman went on his way. The shaman traveled through the dense jungle until he finally reached the main road. By this time, it was past midnight, and the only source of light was the moonlight. As he continued on the main road, he saw a figure of a young girl standing in the middle of the road in the distance. The figure stood still, with her body facing towards him. As he approached, he noticed that the young girl was no ordinary girl, but indeed a bonzo, a female ghost with long black disheveled hair and unkempt clothing. She asked the shaman, did you say you'd kick me if you saw me? How dare you say that about me? If you truly believe you're better than me, then kick me now if you dare. The shaman, although frightened, continued toward the spirit. Just as he lifted to kick his leg, the bonzo, with one quick delivery, kicked him into a ditch. It was not until the next day that men from the village found the shaman paralyzed laying in the ditch, unable to speak and unable to move. So
did they do one of the like they pinched the neck and stuff and he like can't he like
Kung Fu Panda? So I read that, I was like, to show like the power that they believe that these things carry. Forwarding to my aunt's story, she was with my grandpa, and I don't know how many farms my family had, but they got a lot of farms. And they usually have like cabins on, or like secondary homes on these farms, because they're typically like 3 to 7 miles away from their main home. So it's like, if we're going to go work on this farm, we're just going to spend the night there because it's going to be however long it takes, So if we're going to spend the time to walk there, we might as well just stay there. So
that's baller.
They're working at some farm. My grandpa tells my aunt, hey, take this container and go get water from the spring. And I'm going to go hunting and then we'll come back and have dinner. And the spring is up a hill by a cave, which is what we know as one of the homes.
Mhm.
So she gets a container. It's like, she said it was like a 3 foot long, like bamboo, I don't know, like water bottle rod thing. Cause like, you know how bamboo's like hollow?
Yep. Yeah.
So if you close off one end, so it's like, you know, pretty girthy, thicker, thicker around.
Just a veiny bamboo.
Wrong words. It was, the volume it could hold was exponentially good. Anyways, so he's like, go fill this with water. So then when you come back, we can cook some rice. And while you're gone, I'm going to go hunting, try and find something. So she takes off and walks towards this spring. And she's walking up, sees all these like rocks and mounds of dirt all around. And the spring is like leaking from the cave. So it's like a creek almost, like just flowing. She's like looking down at the trail. And then she hears like laughter in the like bushes like next to her. And then she looks up and sees 5 little like girls from tallest to shortest running in a line away from her. So she like drops her backpack and the bamboo thing and is just standing there. Oh, she's 8 or 9 when this happened. So she just stares and looks straight ahead and is trying not to move, hoping like maybe they don't see me. The way she described it was like they were, again, tallest to shortest, long black hair, and then they had like really long, thin faces. And she said that their eyes were like black holes with like a red glow in them. And they turned around and they all looked at her, and then in sync did some weird thing with their like tongue, like la 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 la, like taunting her. Yeah, like Sean right there. Whatever he just did, that's exactly what they did. And they were like taunting her. They like were dancing in the spring and then like disappeared. And so she's like, yeah, hitting the gritty in the spring. And so she ran back to the hunting like hut area, and she ran into a guy along the way, and she was crying like hysteric, like, I just saw something. I don't know what it was, but I can't go back. And I left all my stuff there. And he's like, that's okay. Like, I'll go with you. Let's go check it out. He's like, I'm not scared of anything. So let's like go together. And she walks with him and he helps fill up the water. But she notices that the creek water is all murky and dirty now. Like, you know, when someone's like walked through like a river and all the dirt has come up. Yeah. So she's like, okay, so I didn't see, like, this wasn't my imagination. Like, I actually saw something. And the man agreed, like, yeah, you like something was here. I don't know what it was, but something was here. And she just remembers seeing, like, as they were filling up the water, she could see those like faces just like in the jungle surrounding like the cave. Like, she could see him like all around. And then she walked with the man a little bit further, and they found an abandoned village. And he's like, oh yeah, this used to be like so-and-so's village. It's been abandoned for a while now. They noticed that there were a lot of graves. That's when she recognized that all the mounds and rocks she saw on the path leading up to the creek, she thought they were just rocks and mounds. They were actually graves. So when she got back, she told my grandpa, and that freaked him out because he's like, well, that means like our farm's next to basically a cemetery. And so he was like, I think we need to probably move this farm a little bit, or at least stop harvesting in that area. Although like nothing crazy happened from that encounter, she's, again, still says that like she doesn't know what they were trying to do, but she just felt like they were taunting her, dancing in like joyful spirits, but like kind of like a demonic taunt almost. That was her encounter with the bonzo. So,
do we have any data on how one should properly handle themselves in front of a bonzo?
Definitely not try and kick it.
Yeah,
that don't work.
Don't taunt it.
What? Normal moves don't work.
Don't taunt it.
It's not very effective.
Yeah. Roundhouse kick did not work.
Yeah.
The agility was too high.
Yeah. This Pokemon is Mew 3.
You have to use a Master Ball on this one.
Bunch of nerds.
Y'all you nervous because we know more about your culture than we do?
But that was her encounter. And
did she ever see anything like that again?
Nothing like the 5 girls. And it sounds like
that's even more unsettling that it like came and went. It's like you'll never know if you'll run into it again.
And that's the creepier thing that I think with like her story. It's like when you hear scary stories, it's like there's resolution, there's a wrap up. It's like, no, hers was like she saw this thing and it disappeared. So there's no wrap up to that. There's no like, I saw this and then it told me this and then I threw holy water on it and now it's gone. It's like
no closure.
It's there. It just happens
in passing.
Yeah. So then, I mean, with the witch and with that, she then didn't want to go do tasks alone anymore. After being told to go get water and running into this, you're like, I don't think I'm ever going to go get water again. So she'll just make someone else go get it. The responsible adults should get the water.
Like I didn't want to do my chores anymore. I saw a ghost out there, Mom. I can't go pick onions anymore.
That's smart, dog.
Unlike water, that's not a valuable resource. So I don't think you'd run into it.
Tristan, I hate to do this really quick. I'm going to wrap up and head out. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure. From me, bye, love you, be safe. I love you guys.
Real quick.
Feel free to hang out for a while.
Happy birthday, Charlie.
Happy birthday, bro.
Happy birthday.
So
thank you.
That's it. He's got an egg rollout, you know?
Yeah.
Corny joke. I love these personal stories and then the folklore as well. This is like the perfect mix of like types of stories that I like. So,
yeah.
Very fun. And very different from the first time that you came through. Because those were like, for lack of a better term, real horror stories, you know?
Yeah.
Genocide. So it's it's a good mix. I love diving into this culture.
Yeah,
Thank you for sharing it with us.
Yeah, I have a book that's all like it's literally called like Hmong tales, Hmong myths, legends, and folklore. So dope. I have a couple I could share next week too.
Yes,
that are
please.
More like
if you can.
It's more like folklore-y, stories you would tell your kids. Like there's a story about why people are left-handed versus right-handed. And there's like a cool little story that goes with that. Why people are the way they are.
I personally love stuff like that.
Yeah. So I can bring some of those next week for part 2.
Sick.
Okay. Tristan, thank you for coming. Always a pleasure. Looking forward to next week if we can make it happen.
Yeah.
Okay, with that, trust your gut, watch your back.
Be careful out there.
See you very soon.
Hey.
Nice.
Hey, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of 3 a.m. If you want to support us, visit our Patreon where patrons have access to exclusive content. If you're not able to support us monetarily, don't worry. This episode is on us. You can still rate and review us on whatever platform you listen to us on. It really does go a long way. You can also follow us on social media. Our handle everywhere, including Patreon, is the 3 a.m. pod. Finally, do you have any scary stories? If so, submit them to our website, the3ampodcast.com. We love any audio or visual aids that can help bring your stories to life. So file uploads are welcome with your written submissions. We're anxious and excited to hear from you.